If you read our booklet, The Middle Eastern Prophecy, we go through with you, in Daniel, the 11th chapter, we go through with you that whole prophecy, which is the longest prophecy in the Bible, and we show you who exactly is the king of the north. Now, in Daniel, the 2nd chapter, we see the prophecy of the image in the plain, where Daniel saw a head of gold, chest and arms of silver, a torso of brass, and the legs of iron. And all biblical commentaries will tell you that the head of gold is Babylon, the chest and arms of silver is the Medo-Persians, the torso of brass is the Greeks, and the legs of iron is the Roman Empire. And then we get down to the feet and toes, and we see the iron, which is of course Europe. Every biblical commentary will tell you that. The iron is Europe, and then it has the potter's clay. It's part potter's clay and part iron, and it says the kingdom shall be divided. And then after that comes the iron mixed with miry clay. So there are two phases down at the feet and toes, the potter's clay and the miry clay. Now the potter's clay, the Bible says plainly, and of course this is in the context of nations, the potter's clay is the house of Israel. Not the house of Judah, but the house of Israel. The house of Judah are the Jews in biblical prophecy. Who is the house of Israel? Now, if you read our booklet, The United States and Britain in Prophecy, we show you that when you look at biblical history, there are 4 whole books in the Bible, 1st and 2nd Kings, 1st and 2nd Chronicles, that show the completely separate national histories, separate national dynasties of kings, separate national capitals of the house of Judah, the Jews, to the south with their capital at Jerusalem. And then we have, to the north, the 10-tribed house of Israel with their capital in Samaria. And the house of Israel were never known as Jews. And in fact, you look at 2 Kings 16:6, you see that the Jews, the house of Judah, are at war against Israel, the house of Israel, 2 separate nations. Then the Assyrians came in, took the house of Israel away and placed them between the Black and the Caspian Sea, and they never came back to the Promised Land. What happened to those peoples? Now, we show you in our booklet, The United States and Britain in Prophecy, that these peoples migrated up into Europe and received their birthright blessings. Ephraim became a great company, a commonwealth of many nations. Manasseh became a great single powerful nation. This is the house of Israel, not the house of Judah. So here we see, down at the feet and toes, part potter's clay and part iron. The kingdom shall be divided. Obviously, this is NATO and the EU. The EU being a financial coalition, and of course, NATO being the military wing of Europe and the United States in an alliance together called the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. This is the king of the north that we read of in Daniel, the 11th chapter, verses 40 through 45 rather. And we show you in Daniel 11:40 through 43 was fulfilled in the Gulf War that took place in 1990. And then in verse 44, it says, tidings out of the east and out of the north shall trouble him. That's the king of the north. Who is the king of the north? Who heads NATO? Who funds NATO? The United States of America. The President of the United States is the king of the north. And we prove that to you in our booklet, The Middle Eastern Prophecy. Now, Daniel 11:44 was fulfilled during the time of the War on Terror. And then it says, and he, verse 45, shall plant the tabernacles of his palace. That's military bases. Who is known for planting military bases all over the world? The United States of America. The king of the north is obviously the United States, the president of the United States. And he plants these tabernacles, these military bases, because of tidings out of the east and out of the north. And we show you that those 2 Hebrew words means Iran, old Persia. This is the enemy. And they're coming in to save Judah because of tidings out of the east and out of the north, because of Iran. And of course, Iran is the hidden hand behind this entire conflict between Hamas and the Israelis, Hezbollah in Lebanon, and we also see Iran in Syria, in Damascus. He shall plant the tabernacles of his palace, that's military occupation, between the seas, that's the Negev desert, and of course in northern Israel, between the Sea of Galilee and the Mediterranean Sea, between the seas and in the glorious holy mountain, that is, of course, Jerusalem. So here we see the king of the north, NATO, coming in to save Judah from her enemies.